Introducing the PDC World Darts Championship.
Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. It is that time of year again. It is the build-up to the PDC World Championship, and it wouldn't be a build-up without Chris Mason. Mate, it's a very different vibe in here to last night, isn't it?
Yeah, back to reality. Cleaning the pub all morning, and then to the recycling centre with all the bottles, and yeah.
What a night though last night for the third Live Lounge Live.
Yeah, it was amazing. We invited a few more people this year just to try and give it a bit more atmosphere and let everybody see how it's done and a bit of a look behind the scenes. And yeah, it was well received, and there's a lot of people. Oh, can we come next year? So
we ain't got a choice if we
no.
we're penciling again for next year. Look, we'll come on to the Worlds in a minute, but it's been a while since we've had a catch up, and there's plenty gone on. And look, it's been dominated by Luke and Luke, but look, they are at the moment, numbers prove that, head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah, statistically, they're not only in the titles being won between them, but you know, in their level of performance and everything else, they look the two to beat. But there's a few reasonably close behind them, and on any given day, Van Veen, one of them, Vessel Nyman, another, Pricey when he's hitting doubles. So yeah, they're not going to have it all their own way, but it's going to be a fascinating World Championship.
Yeah, the two that have broken the Luke and Luke stranglehold, shall we say, Michael at the World Series final, Van Veen at the European Championships. And first of all, let's do Michael. I didn't think he had that in him at the moment. He had good games in him, but he strung it together for a weekend where he was brilliant. And you look at that resume that he took out to win the title, that was vintage.
Well, we didn't fancy him, for one, because of the route, and two, really, it was something I think when we last did one of these, we said he just doesn't seem to be able to have back-to-back games. He was averaging 107 or 108 or 104 and then backing up with a late 80s or a low 90s. And of course, in this landscape, especially if you won a game, you're deeper into the tournament, it's going to get tougher. So that will have given him a lot of confidence. And well, we spoke last night on the show that both me and you think, I mean, it's a ridiculous thing to say it in that way, but he's a dark horse. I think he's being overlooked and could well go under the radar and do a bit of damage. I like his draw, certainly in the first 3 or 4 rounds.
100%. And look, Gian Van Veen, this has been coming as well. We've seen it on the Pro Tour, the Euro Tour, posting astronomical numbers. And to pick a big one up this early in his career, one, what does it do for him? And two, puts him in the mix for a lot of things.
Yeah, but like any sportsman, you know your own talent and ability by what you do, whether it be in training or in darting terms, in your practice routines and your practice sessions against other players. And he always knew, but once you do that and you win something as big as that, you get genuine belief. But as we've seen from Mike De Decker, also puts a target on your back, and it's how he deals with that. So it's all fascinating stuff. I think it came at the right time of the year. I think it's come at the right time of his career, and I think he'll go on and do very, very well because he's that talented. But it's very, very hard. You know, we look at the last time Michael won a Worlds, and everybody, when Michael won his first Worlds, was sort of talking as if they are now about Luke Littler. How many is he going to win? It's not a foregone conclusion with all the talent in the world. There was a thing I was reading this morning about the fact that he's quite happy with the way things are, but thinks there is another gear if he practiced. And we both know, everybody thinks it's BS, but we know, we go to these venues, and we're privileged to be able to go and have a first-hand look at what the players are doing. And most of the time, he's just sat down playing on his phone. But it works for him for now. For him, it's very much key. It is his muscle. It's a muscle memory game for him, and he just finds it so easy right now, at times. But he's got to watch himself because there is that fragility and vulnerability early on, and over shorter race games. But still, the players have then got to take advantage and a lot don't.
Well, you touched about him practicing. For the Grand Slam final, he got back to the venue 10 minutes before he was due to pull up. What is that? That's ridiculous.
I know. You know, you go to the other end of the extreme, someone like Merv King will be the first one, knocking the door at 9 in the morning.
He's pestering the cleaners for the key.
Yeah, exactly that. At the moment, though, it's working. So we can't be critical, but my fascination is how good could he get? I mean, we've seen him at 15 first hand down at Portsmouth in the Super Series, and the stuff he was doing there was just remarkable. So we're far from shocked. This is what we expected. This is what we predicted. Did I predict he would be the fourth most successful PDC player in history inside 2 years? Absolutely not. But again, where does it end for him, and how long will that drive be there? Because he's going to, by the time he's 25, he's going to be a very, very wealthy man, and he might want to try and do something different.
The old silk sheets and 6 a.m. runs theory comes into play again.
It's exactly that, and that's what made, we spoke about it, that's what made Taylor so unique. He still had, well, he had more drive and determination the more successful he got, which usually is the opposite way around. I mean, there is sportsmen, you think of Djokovic, who could have, you know, and he's still
Nadal, Federer, it's ridiculous.
Messi,
you know, Ronaldo at 40 odd still playing, and
it just some people are very unique, and Taylor was certainly one of those. But at the moment, he's almost ticked off the boxes. What's left? The Europeans and the Masters.
Yeah,
and that's it. That's inside 2 years.
It's mad, isn't it?
And it's well inside 2 years. I think it was something like 100 days inside 2 years. So, yeah, all credit to him. And he's made huge changes to our sport and the way we're respected within the sporting sphere. And everybody should be very grateful, including myself.
Minehead, the last tournament, the dress rehearsal for the World Championships, if you will. What did you think of the Players' Tournament overall?
Yeah, I thought it was a bit slow getting going. And then sort of once it caught fire.
I thought Friday was tough.
Yeah, Friday was tough, and that's just the way it sort of schedule sort of played out, really. And some interesting board choices, that's for sure, that we sort of looked at and thought, gave you sort of an insight who may be in the Premier League next year. Call me a cynic. But yeah, Saturday and Sunday I thought were fabulous. And listen, you know I'm a huge fan of Nathan Aspinall, and I love seeing him play like that. And where we sort of, the narrative or Street Fighter, his actual A game is right up there. He's
100%.
He's got stones the size of melons. He's gutsy, and he's got flair. You know, I think that flair was lost during those times of where he was struggling with injury. But my God, he's bounced back brilliantly, and he's a danger man for the world. He's a danger man for every tournament. You know, he's in that short list of players. We always go, well, he's in with a shout. If he goes out early or if he's not quite on it. But yeah, Aspinall certainly on the short list for me. And he had a fabulous tournament and just ran out of bullets in the final, didn't he? He was absolutely gassed. Well, he made the remark afterwards, didn't he?
Absolutely bollocks.
There's another 500 quid down the Swanee. Not that he will mind. No,
look, 100%, and we'll touch on more of that later on. But what do you make of this little rivalry between Luke and Luke? Because I love it. Look, it's not the rivalry as in they hate each other, but it's certainly a rivalry. And I thought the interviews on stage after the slam were interesting. It's the first time we've really the mask has dropped, but I don't mean that in a sense where it's like it's fake. It's like we finally saw the real Lukes. Do you know what I mean? It's not saying the right things for the media. It was like that laughy and jokey, but it was like there's something there.
They're slightly different eras and obviously slightly different ages, but it's a bit like the Taylor MVG rivalry, really. Yeah. That, you know, it's obviously Luke Humphries is a little bit older and has achieved plenty. And then you've got this young lad who's come along and, like Michael did, and has just taken the game by storm. And of course, let's not forget, around that time, Michael went missing for a good 4 years, didn't he?
Yeah.
I forget how many times I put my arm on his shoulder and sort of say, "Come on, son, it'll come back."
People question, would the teenage prodigy kick on?
Yeah, exactly that. So all those things have got to be considered, but I certainly enjoy it. I think Humphries there's an issue with his throw, and I haven't had a chance to really speak to him, but he's making too much of it, and he's overcomplicated. That throw is the most uncomplicated throw in the world. It's just back and forward. I'm very much like the conversation I had with Michael Smith. It's the same kind of thing, mate. Don't try. The 1 minute you put effort in, you're done. You know, because those throws do not hold up under effort because they're so fluid.
Yeah.
And they rely on the arm being absolutely relaxed. Just turn the brain off and throw. And we've seen spells of that from Humphries in that championship. So hopefully he'll have everything right by the Worlds.
Yeah, look, we've seen this period between Minehead and the Worlds, the draw's done, but the players are out all over the place, exhibitions keeping themselves
been on the road for 5 days, 6 days.
Yeah, I think it's 9 days in total before from start to finish. But look, that's what we do for content.
Yeah.
But look, how important are these for the players in the build-up to the Worlds? Because it's match practice against top players all the time.
Yeah, if it was like the old style of exhibitions, what we used to do, we'd go into a pub and play 16 of them, best of 3, and they were tiring. Where this kind of thing's probably like if you're in the last 3 weeks of a fight camp and you're just fine-tuning and doing some technical sparring. That's exactly what it is. And of course, they're making a few quid. It's great for the fans to get up close and personal because it's, a lot of these tournaments now, they'll see them on the walk-on and that'll be that. You don't get to get close or have photos with the players anymore. So, I think the modern style of exhibitions, and I've done a few for Modus, for Jason, and they are literally a military exercise. They run to the minute. And everything's done for you. Get a rider. What do you want? What do you need? What time do you want to? We want you at this time. Do you want to be here earlier? You've got your own practice board. It's a different class, and that's why when we see some of those numbers coming back from those exhibitions where both players are going 109, 110, it's not surprising because the conditions are perfect.
Well, on that, you made me think of this, and I meant to ask you before about this, that when you're a boxer or a football team or whatever, you have your own dressing room to prep.
Yeah.
At events, you are in a massive communal room with a load of boards. Do you think that we are edging towards the realms of should players have their own room to get ready in their own environment and their own time?
Yeah, and that's certainly something that I think will come, but the big problem is it's the space needed.
I get that, yeah.
I certainly, Ali Pali is great, but there's so many reasons why I don't think it can work there anymore, and that's one. I'd also like the players to have their own room, their manager in there or coach, and that the same at commercial breaks, they go into that room on their own, and then they can have coaching and everything, and then they can come back out.
Just a set of ears or something, just to tell them something.
Yeah, it's exactly like that in snooker. Obviously, they don't have a table in there.
Yeah.
They have a dressing room and they can go in there. And listen, you're not talking about a lot of space. It's 7'9.25", so a couple of feet behind that, and I don't know, as wide as this table. That's all you need, isn't it? And then if you've got your, as you would when you are practicing, because they're all in the same room, and I don't even know how we used to do it, but now I think the players are allowed 2 guests in there, are they?
I think depending on 2 or 1, depending on the size of the room. I think, yeah.
So how would you communicate with that player if you're his manager, stroke coach, and because there's too many ears?
Well, but if you've seen something, if your opponent's thrown on the other board and you see something, how do you communicate? Or should you see there was something wrong as well?
Correct. And I think as it. Listen, it's never been more professional as it is now, and we know Matt, Barry, and Eddie, they're perfectionists. So that I'm sure it's something that they're already looking at. But again, it's space, and that's another reason I'm not sure how things will, because the demand for tickets this year was just mind blowing. You know what it's like. Can you get any tickets? No, only just about.
I can barely get myself in.
Exactly, only just getting myself. So I think next year. I'm not sure what kind of length of deal they've signed with Ali Pali.
Barry let it slip in the interview that I did with him. They were negotiating a 1-year extension, which is this year. Because it was out of contract.
The logistics of it, and the problem with is it called the Great Hall?
Yeah.
That would be ideal. That's where the old
News of the World was.
News of the World was. So the space are plenty, but then it's where do the TV trucks go? Where does the fan village go? How do you get them in and out in between sessions? So I think it's outgrown it, and I think it's very much like the Sheffield situation for the snooker. I don't think they're prepared to spend money, and I think they can call their bluff. Well, the one person you don't call the bluff on is Barry, because that'll backfire on you. And I'm sure they're already looking at potential venues. There's a few around London that we know, that we've seen. I've been to boxing too. That I think this would be perfect. The much better logistics, vast areas of parking, easy in and out on the tube, loads of hotels, and could accommodate 8, 9, 10,000 quite comfortably. So I'm sure that's going to be on the cards.
So do you think this is the last year at Alexandra Palace?
Yeah, no, I'm not privy to any information. We've had many a conversation when we've been there going, look at the amount of people
outside that can't get in.
I just think they need one of these huge. What is the one? What's the one with the other boxing? It's not the XL.
The XL. I think the XL is the favourite.
The XL
because it's an open shell.
Yeah, so they can partition it off.
They can do and set up as they want. And
you retain your fans' village. It's great for the TV trucks because it was purpose built for that. So, I can't see it. Listen, they can dress it up. They can make it look $1 million inside these buildings. So they've got a blank canvas, and maybe because of course the Masters and the Mosconi Cup are both played at Alexandra Palace. So the fact that they wouldn't consider investing in that great hall does surprise me, but I just don't think they will. I've just got a feeling that I think the demand is so big now that they're going to have to look at bigger venues.
I went to the XL a little while ago, and around there's loads of hotels, there's shops. They spent a lot of money on the infrastructure around it, and it's easy on I think it's Elizabeth line or whatever it is, that you can stay 5-6 miles away, but you're there in 10 minutes on the tube,
and that's another reason. Everything like that, you know how thorough the PDC are and how much they look at all these, like every detail. And like I said, I'm sure it's something they've already been doing because, listen, they know more than anybody how many tickets they could sell and how much money they're not making. And I hate hearing it's all about money. That's their job. They are a promotional company that makes money for their business, their players, the people they represent, their employees. That's what they're meant to do. And if they're not making as much money as possible, they're not doing their jobs right. And listen, there's £1 million up for grabs. They're doing their job more than right.
It's not just that though. Barry, he said it on Talk Sport, I think, brilliantly, that if the demand's there, but if you keep letting the demand down, the demand will go.
Well, they'll go somewhere else. They'll follow. They'll start looking at other sports to follow, and then that window's gone. I mean, you don't want a venue that you're not going to sell out because that selling out creates demand. That's why we always hear the promotion of fights. Oh, it's nearly and you panic. Oh, I haven't got my ticket. It's clever, but it's factual. Certainly is with darts. You look at the match play, look at the Premier League, look at the Worlds. Not necessarily so much and that's another one. I think the venue for the Grand Prix is terrible.
I don't like it.
Venue for the Slam's terrible. It's got this character. It's soulless. And you got to remember that the Grand Prix especially that had something special, especially where its beginnings was. I think it was at Crosby Cedars Hotel, and then of course went to the City West. So I think it loses something by not having a home or a spiritual home. And we got to remember, everybody went, oh, you won't get anything like Lakeside, and then we had the Tavern, and oh, you won't get anything like the Tavern, and oh, you won't get anything like Ali Pali. Trust me, they will find something.
Oh, they always find a way. I 100% agree. Looking at the Worlds, before we dive into it, who's in trouble for you? When the draw's now out, who's in trouble?
All the ones whose form has dipped dramatically, and poor old Chizzy's been having an absolute mare of it, and again his draw's horrendous. I think there's a few, but I think the 128 commercially is genius, right? Because it opens up. It's all of their affiliates and all of the tours globally. They're all getting opportunities, which is obviously increasing the interest in darts. But I think it's diluted it slightly. Remember, it was always it was less than 32 right back in the day.
24 when it first started.
24. I get why. And again, it makes it difficult for all the players to navigate. It's one more match. It'd be interesting to see how it plays out. There's a lot of players who are inexperienced at this level but have opportunities. We've got a lot of certainly younger players coming through. And it's tough to see past Littler. It just is because, again, we know it's not an opinion. It's just what the data tells us, and it's a data-driven sport. So, but is it a foregone conclusion? Absolutely not.
You touched on Chizzy. The throw was never reliable, but it always worked.
Yeah.
But watching it now, from me looking at it, it looks completely broken, and I'm not sure it's repairable. Just looking at it, I'm not sure that's repairable.
No, not like I had a similar. My throw completely broke down, and then I couldn't remember how I threw, and I couldn't find out how to sort of make it right again. And I think he's going through that. He's having a bit of a crisis in confidence. And when you start slipping down those rankings, there's only very few players have halted it. James Wade, who he's one we think of.
Gary as well, when he went to 28.
Yeah, and then they forced their way back. Whitlock did it a few times. You think, he's on the slide, and then so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it's tough for Chizzy, and he's if you're someone who likes sport but haven't played it, you probably wouldn't understand why I have so much sympathy with him. But he has given so much and so much enjoyment. He's one of the most prolific 180 scorers in the world. He's gone so close so many times, and you just think, God, how different would it have been? And you got someone like Michael Smith struck down with arthritis, and he's still a kid in my, in my ideas. Who again now is hampered, but at least he's got a World Championships to fall back on. Chizzy hasn't. Plenty of Euro tours, mine. 29 darters. Plenty of great moments, but yeah, I hope he can find a way of rescuing that action.
Well, you touched on Michael Smith. It's heartbreaking in a way because
devastating.
We got glimpses of the old Michael Smith at the Slam,
yeah,
and then rocked up at the Players, and he can barely get to the stage because of the arthritis in that ankle.
And it's in his ankle. You can see how much pain he's in with his ankle. Imagine the pain in the wrists because it's part and part, especially on the release. So he must be in agony. But and I don't know what's. I spoke to him. Well, I spoke to him at the Players Championship finals, and he's going in for some injections. So hopefully there's no cure, but if you're pain free, then at least you've got half a shout. So fingers crossed that works out. But it's horrific where they've got to go with that needle right
into the bone area, isn't it?
Yeah. So that'll smart a bit, I should imagine.
How excited are you to see Bo back at Alexandra Palace? We saw her play Willie O'Connor a few years back now, and it was great then, but
she's improved.
She's finally made the decision to move properly from the WDF and commit to the PDC circuit, and what she's done this year has been incredible. How excited are you to see her at Alexandra Palace?
Yeah, listen, I was like, come on, Bo, go move quicker, but everything she's done in her career, she's done at her own pace, and that pace has been 100% the right decision because the proof's in the pudding. And yeah, I think she'll improve again. I think she's the way she's made those small improvements year on year on year on year is quite remarkable. And that match in the World Youth against Luke Littler was an insight into what we can expect. We're not going to get it every week. We don't get it every week off of
Luke and Luke.
It's just that nature. But trust me, if she gets past round one in those Players' Championship events, she's going to be a nightmare for them. Because, again, statistically, if you look at her numbers, she just gets better and better and better and better. And if that final would have been...
a couple more legs.
Well, no, on that day.
She wins it.
She wins it. I mean, she fluffed her lines, didn't she, to level things up.
4-all.
And then there was no pegging back from there. But, and listen, she's a danger. Whoever she plays, mate, she's a danger. She's going to have the crowd on her side. She loves the big stage. She loves getting up there. So yeah, I can't wait. I think I'm looking forward to seeing how Fallon goes. I think it may have come a bit early again. She's been unwell, not been able to really hit that practice board as hard. So I think that will be the defining factor in how well she goes. Lisa's always great value, but again, how much is left?
Well, injuries and age catches up with everyone at some point, and those injuries
Waits for nobody.
Those injuries are harder to get over, and so on.
Yeah, absolutely, and she has been plagued with them, and that stops her, of course, from putting in the hours you need to put in to perform at a level she's going to need to. So, and of course, we've got Gemma Hayter as well.
Noah Lynn as well against Peter.
Yeah, that's an interesting game. I mean, Noah's put in some big numbers, hasn't she? In some of the Challenge Tour events. She won on the Challenge Tour.
Yeah.
So listen, if she averages mid-90s, she's in with a shout. But again, we can't write peter off. We did that last year, didn't we? And he stuffed New Comfort's first round.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Going back to Bo, can she make the match play in year one? Because that would be some fairy tale.
Yeah, how many times has it been done?
Off the top of my head,
It's not many, is it?
Bunting,
Yeah.
Dozer, Littler. Then there probably are more, but they're the three that instantly that I can remember.
I think it's going to be tough because I think she'll take a while to settle.
Yeah.
Again, that environment, the jump between Dev, Challenge, and Pro Tour is huge. Just if you look at her numbers for the season, and then put that up against where she sits in the stats from the Pro Tour, it will be tough. But I just think she will just improve being in that environment.
She'll get better.
She'll get better because she'll have to. That Pro Tour is no joke from start to finish. We do have Pro Tours where we get a few players missing when it's over in the horrible places to get to in Germany, and we've seen some random winners in those.
Yeah,
I wouldn't write off the idea of her winning a Pro Tour next year.
Is Daryl Gurney in problems?
In spells, he's looked $1 million, hasn't he, this year? And then in other parts, you're struggling to find out. I'm constantly looking. Is there a change in the action, or is something different? I can't really pinpoint any reason why he has these fluctuations, but he's gonna have to be somewhere near certainly a B+ standard of game. Otherwise, he is in a world of trouble.
Gary Anderson is the sport's biggest enigma, I think, because
I just don't get it.
He doesn't practice, right? And because he hasn't got time with 2 young kids, his businesses, he rocks up on the Pro Tour and puts in record averages for the year. He doesn't pick them up for weeks, doesn't practice, then picks them up and misses a 9. Hasn't replicated that on TV. Where are we with Gary? Is he going to get caught out soon? Because I know raw talent can take you a long, long way.
Well, that's what I always say. If talent don't work hard, our work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. But I think for him now, I think he's in the stage of his career where he don't really give a shit. He'll play darts when he wants to play darts on his terms and when he fancies it. Listen, he's one of the most popular players ever. He could quit tomorrow, hand his tour card back, and make a fortune for the next 5-10 years if he wanted to on the exhibition
100%.
circuit. And he will be insanely popular. You go up anywhere, but you take him up to Scotland or one of them shows. Well, you've just been
Edinburgh.
I mean, the people just come out for him, and rightly so. He's been one of Scotland's greatest sportsmen, never mind dart players. So yeah, I just don't think he just plays when he wants, and he's having a laugh with it as well. He'd love to win the Worlds to say no to the Premier League.
100%.
But yeah, I just don't know where his game is. You don't know which version's going to turn up. On the floor, he's looked absolutely incredible. On TV, at times, looked absolutely ordinary. But again, it's like all that older generation. You just can't afford to write him off and say no chance because it'll come back and bite you.
Well, a bit like Michael. If he gets into round 3 and 4, I think then he becomes a danger.
I think he's a danger anyway. I think by winning the World Series finals, he proves that he can replicate levels of performance in back-to-back matches and against players that everybody thought might be a bit too good for him. He's had a nice holiday, didn't play in the Players' Championships finals. He's well rested. I've seen a couple of little interviews with him, couple of sound bites, and I've listened to what Vincent's had to say. And I'm excited to see if Michael could, win it one more time.
With Gary. It might not be the end of the Anderson darts love affair though, because Ty is fully involved now, and Gary's like, don't pick him up, but lefty, lovely action, the apple don't fall far from the tree, and it is fluid. And
Rachel was a good player in Rome. She had a nice throw. I'm fascinated because Rachel puts up on Facebook all what he's doing. He's playing in the ADC, and I'm like, this kid's got some talent, and that's natural talent, right? Because he wanted to do anything but play darts, didn't he? He was into his football and then
tennis and running and
anything but darts. But yeah, like you say, the apple don't fall far from the tree. And you imagine if I mean, what a story. What a story.
I would love it in 15, 16 years' time. There's Gary and Rachel watching Tyke, and Gary's then going through what Rachel and
going
that's
through the
been
ringer. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and listen, those kind of things. We've seen it in past with brothers. We've seen it with Aaron Monk and Colin. Colin, of course, a former world master. So yeah, you never say never in them kind of scenarios.
I know we're looking into the future here, but if Ty decides to take this further and carry on going, what's the pressure going to be like on him? Because he's always going to be the son of one of the greatest players the sport has ever seen. A bit like Eddie and Barry. To start with, Eddie was always, that's Barry Hearn's son.
Yeah.
And Eddie's had to, no, actually, Barry Hearn's my dad. And when if he makes that jump, it's going to be difficult to get rid of that tag, isn't it?
There's some boots to fill, aren't they?
Massive.
Do you know what I mean? It's going to be terribly hard for him, but I think I know Gary and Rachel well enough to how they're bringing him up, and I think
lovely kid.
I think it would be water off a duck's back to him, and he'd probably enjoy it and play up with the media and everybody else. But yeah, it would be an incredible story, wouldn't it?
Players at the World Championships, we look at little sections of the draw. Johnny Clayton won, he's played okay, but not got results on TV of late. He's in a lovely little section of the draw, which I can't see him not getting to the quarterfinals as a minimum.
No, I'm with you. I like his section. I think the format after sort of it, where you have a season where a majority of it's leg play, and then the double start, and then the complexity of the slam with the group games. I think a lot of the players, certainly of the experience of Johnny Clayton, will look forward just to playing a proper World Championship format. And I'm with you. If he gets up and running and has a real good opener, he can go deep.
James Wade, another one that, again, he's had an incredible... I'm going to say James Wade and Danny Noppert in the same bracket here.
Similar players.
They both had sensational years. When you look at the numbers, the money they've won, they're up there in the top 10 of year to date of the best players. However, their record at Alexandra Palace is horrific. Can you overlook that because of the form they're going into this year, or does that play on their mind?
I think they're both playing so well. It's one of those anomalies where you can almost go, I don't think it matters, their previous, because they're just playing... Danny Noppert's been sensational this year. And certainly the last 4 or 5, 6 months. James Wade, incredible, isn't it? He's like...
hibernated in the top 10 of the world for 30 years.
Yeah. And now up to, what is he, 5?
5 or 6.
5 or 6, yeah. Doesn't have a lot to defend at the Worlds. If Bunty has a mare, we could be seeing James Wade back in the Premier League.
Well, there's 3 chasing that top 4. You've got... I'll tell her, anyone in the top 10, if they get to the semi-finals, they're in... But in terms of short distance, you've got Noppert, Wade and Clayton all banging the door for that fourth spot.
Yeah. So that's going to add pressure to Stephen Bunting, who I know we're going off on who's had a mare the last 4 TV tournaments, hasn't he? He's coming into this with no confidence. And again, it's what's gone wrong, because I can't... There's nothing... So it's got to be mental. And once you play at that level, the vast majority of the mistakes do come from psychological issues where you lack belief, or you just don't think, or you panic, or you put yourself under too much pressure. But there's one thing, the mentality of Wade and Danny Noppert are just at a different level, I think. I think this mental strength, considering what James goes through as well, daily, it is quite incredible. Again, how he's sort of looked like he was on the slide and went, hang on a minute, hold my case, and back he comes. And yeah, I like James, got a lot of time for him, been mates with him for 20 odd years. So, and I like Danny. I used to say Danny, there's no special effects with Danny, but he's added the element now to his game of a big power scoring game, which he never really had. He was, let's say, no special effects, steady away, great at everything, literally great at everything, but not brilliant at one thing. He's changed that up this year. I'd love to know how.
Players have to play twice now before Christmas in this new format. Do you think that's a help to them? Because I remember the Seeds sometimes said they've got a bit of an advantage because they've played up there already, but
they're not going in completely cold.
Do you think this is a good thing, that it's like there's no skipping for the Seeds?
Yeah, I don't like that old idea anyway. for one, that the guy, whichever scenario you look at it, you play against somebody who's already at the game, and if they've had an absolute gut wrencher, you've got a massive advantage. You're going in fresh, they're going in slightly burnt. And then another way of looking at it is they've had a game, they're used to their surroundings, they won 3-0, fairly comfortable against a bit of a Scooby, and you're going in cold. So listen, I understand why it's 128, but it's meant to be the most elite thing in the world, isn't it? And there's 128 players. Is there 120? If there was 128 players that could win it, I would understand it. But there you go.
It's an interesting. It's a good point. Do you still have to approach it as 3 different tournaments? The section before Christmas, the section between Christmas and New Year, and after it. Did you still have to break it down in that manner? Yeah,
well, that's what you used to do back in the day. It was all about making sure you were in when you went home for Christmas dinner, and then you sort of come back. Well, it was slightly different when I played in the embassy because we didn't really have that much of a break because of the time of year it was done, of course. It's gonna take some navigating this, especially what did we see Matt Campbell go home last year? Was it last year or before?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
I think that was a mistake. I mean, he was playing lovely at the time.
He was absolutely flying, and he come back and he looked absolutely pooped, and he would be. He's just flown all the way back to Canada for what, 1 day there, was it?
I think he flew home Christmas Eve. So he got home on the 24th and then flew back on
Boxing Day
night, I think.
Yeah. So again, especially the overseas players, it's all about managing that schedule and getting your prep right, making sure you don't sort of don't make it overcomplicated. Give yourself the easiest opportunity. Someone like Michael and all the other players with kids, it's difficult, especially for the overseas player, because you want to be with your kids at Christmas. But if I'm Michael, it's difficult, but because he had Litland with him when he won the
World Series
finals, maybe because he rents a house, doesn't he? Doesn't stay in a hotel.
I think so, yeah.
So I think that's what the other players have got to look at. I know but it's an investment. You're playing for £1 million. Give yourself the best opportunity, and don't scrimp and scrape to save a few quid by flying in later than you need to, or just give yourself every chance.
No, so it's a really, really good point. History tells us Luke Littler will not defend this title. Caveat to that is the kid's a freak.
Yeah.
But it's been 10 years since anyone defended. That was Gary Anderson in 15, 16.
And then 4 years before that,
Adrian was 11 and 12, and then before that was Taylor for God knows how many years.
Yeah.
But they're the only 3 that have defended.
Yeah, that shows you how difficult it is.
Again, why is it so difficult? Because we've seen many talented, world-class, elite players not master it. What makes it so difficult to defend?
I think winning that many matches at a year apart at that level is just, and the standard of players is, listen, I don't think there's no player better than Taylor, right? Right now, as far as I'm concerned. But the pool of players he had to play, the depth wasn't there. Now, where in his day, I suppose you'd have John Part, Wazza, Priestley, Rod, and whoever else. Now you can just sort of go, he could be. Whether he does or not is one thing, but you never look at the World Championship fill and go, well, he could be him. He just didn't. And that's where the game has changed for me. That talent pool is now ridiculously big, and I think that's what makes the complexity of trying to defend a title. How many did Humphreys defend? 1, wasn't it?
He defended the Players' Championship finals.
Yeah.
Does that, on the same point, does that make Gary get into 3 finals in a row even special? And it took, was it something like a 108 from MVG to beat him in that 3rd final?
Yeah. Again, considering his previous, what did he make? 1 Lakeside semi?
Yeah, it's like record at Lakeside. Was
and he had a load of early exits, and then when he first started in the PDC, you were thinking, does this format suit him? And wow, he had 3 incredible years. But he's looking at it now and thinking, I wish it was now.
Luke and Luke, is it as simple as if they turn up and play well, that's the final?
Although they keep proving me wrong, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion for anything in darts anymore. But just like I said, because it's so tough, and there's so many different styles of player, and there's so many little internal rivalries that people don't realise. There's a lot of players that certainly don't like one particular player, and that can affect the way they play against them. And again, it's that complexity. Listen, we're not. It's not disrespecting or writing off all the other players. That's not that's not it. But we sort of look at it again in an analytical way and go, right, how do they navigate through that? Is there going to be any stumbling?
Where's the bump in the road in this section?
Yeah, and listen, we know every year you've got to dodge a few bullets. Ryan Meekin had him in all sorts of trouble. Ryan Joyce had him in all sorts of trouble. So yeah, it's. And on the back of both their years, I'm sort of looking at it for the last 2 years with them in the Worlds and where issues have come. And for Humphreys, he just not got to get involved because he ain't cut from that cloth. He ain't got that about. He's not about that life, as they say. I think on the road. So yeah, he just needs to keep his nut down and worry about
do his thing.
do his thing, because when he does his thing, he's elite. So. We're certainly not going to be surprised to see a Luke and Luke final. Let's put it that way. But I don't think it'll be plain sailing for either of them. I think they're going to, like I say, get over a few bumps in the road along the way. But again, you can't discount the likes of Noppert being spoilers, or Wadey or Pricey, because they're playing at a level which is just down from the level of the two Lukes. So one's only got to have an amazing day, and the other one just be off. And that's when you see players fall.
The Premier League chat as well goes hand in hand with the World Championships, because I think 5 spots are probably done, but there's probably 3 spots up for grabs.
There is every year, though, isn't there?
But the players have already started talking about it.
Yeah.
Yes. Do we help this fire? Yeah, of course we do.
Yeah, put some tinder on it.
But it's on their mind. And going into the Worlds, is that a help or a hindrance thinking about the Premier League at the same time?
I think it's a hindrance. Some players don't really, financially it's great, but actually, yeah, it's okay. I'm sure the public think they're flown around in helicopters and put up in 5-star hotels. They have to. It's all on them to do. And yeah, if as long as you get sponsored up, certain style of that will pay for it. But it's the prestige, isn't it? It's the honour of being a Premier League player and going on the road. For some players, they're not really that asked. I know James would love to have one more go at it. Johnny Clayton loves it. Aspinall absolutely loves it. He wants to be part of it.
He's in.
Yeah, he's got to be.
After the final line, I think
he just exactly that, and he ticks all the boxes. He's a fan's favourite. He does the merch. Great walk on. And he's got that style of play that keeps you on the edge of your seat. So I certainly, and again, it's not who I think, it's not ahead of who I think it deserves to be in, because we know it's not about who deserves to be in. I want to see Van Veen, and again, European, ticks all the boxes, loads of 180s, big finisher, fans love him. I'd like to see Danny Noppert in. I think he deserves it. I think it was unfortunate when he won the UK Open that
recency bias. He gets forgotten. Yeah. But if he wins the Players' Championships, it's on everyone's mind.
Of course it is. And then it's. I mean, I've got it down to 11. No, I just can't. For me, there's 11. But obviously, the top 4 is taken care of. But then I think I've got 7 players and I think they all deserve to be in for one reason or another.
Picking it now, and who you think's going to have a good Worlds and so on. What would your 8 be right now?
I wrote it down last night, didn't I? Luke, MBG, Bunty as it stands right now because he's in the top 4.
Yep.
Aspinall, Price, Van Veen, Noppert. Who have I missed?
So you're going Luke, Michael, Bunting.
Yeah.
Noppert.
Yeah. Price, Van
Veen. Aspinall.
Aspinall.
So you're leaving out Clayton,
Yeah.
and Wade.
Yeah.
So you're even at potentially the world 6 and 7.
Yeah.
That's mad. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, that's where it's skewed, because you will see, he's way down in the rankings, but it's about what they bring. Now, if Wadey has a good Worlds in the top 4, he deserves to be in there. But then they've got, the PDC have constantly banging their heads with Wadey about interviews, and I think he frustrates them at times. And I don't think they need too many excuses to overlook him, if you know what I mean. Which is unfair. I'm not saying it's right, but then, it's hard, isn't it? Because listen, I'm a huge Clayton fan as well, and he's had spells this year, but he's had some good tournaments, hasn't he, Johnny? Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but you can pick with your heart, and then you can pick commercially with your head.
Yeah.
And listen, no one's going to agree on everything, because it's just the way it is. Fortunately, the people who buy the tickets for it don't give a shit who's playing, really.
Well, I think
because they already buy it's sold out.
14 of the 17 venues are already sold out, and the others aren't far away, which is mad.
But I mean, listen, the Premier League is an incredible tool to spread the gospel and take the brand on the road, and it's one of them things. I don't look at it as a major, that's for sure. You just can't, because of how selective it is. It's like World Series events, they need. That's another thing they need to look at as well, because that's losing a bit of its luster, because the players are quite happy to miss them, and a player should not want to play. I can understand missing Pro Tours and Players' Championships, absolutely. But the players should want to play in the World Series events. And maybe when it gets revamped next year by the new incoming talented presenters and commentators, maybe it will have a different look.
Come on to that in a minute. What's your take on, obviously Luke and Luke have been outspoken about this, and there are others that are murmuring, potentially not going to do any Players' Championships next year. One, do you agree? And two, is that a bad sign, and do things need to change when players are going, basically, 2 fingers, sod the Players' Championships?
Yeah, well, if the PDC want the best out of them in the TV tournaments, or the European tours, then something's got to give. You can't play 3 consecutive days, jump on a flight, and then turn up in, I don't know, Belgium or Risa, and then step on stage and then expect to see the best version of that player, because you won't, because you'll be fucked. You'll be out on his feet. And we've seen that so often, more so in the last 2 years, where players are just completely gassed. And again, it's twofold, from the playing and from the travelling. And again, people go to an area, go on holiday, right? And then feel how you feel when you get home after maybe having a 2-flight return journey. You're pooped. Imagine if you're doing that 2 or 3 times a week. Like, and I don't know, people don't seem to, they're only throwing darts. Like, they obviously never left their bedroom, or they've never been out of the country. Fortunately, they don't play a lot in America, so they ain't got to worry about jet lag. But not yet. Well, fingers crossed. And I think, again, the players are quite happy to miss Australia and New Zealand, because, again, you're out there for a long time and could only play 2 games.
On the American thing, again, Barry dropping bombs like he does when they put a microphone in front of him. Matchroom opening, they've got a Matchroom boxing office in New York. They're extending that to a pool and darts office. How good, or could it be done, that when the European Tour first started, it was small and whatever, could we see a PDC North American Tour where they do something out there for...
Yeah, I think that works. I think the main... Listen, they're right in what they're doing, but what we need is a branch of JDC in the whole of America and Canada.
Well, the CDC are great, but the CDC need feeding.
Feeder. Yeah, and you're not going to... Listen, all the parents would encourage their kids to do NFL, basketball, baseball, because there's money in it. Soccer, right? There's money in it, right? They look at darts, and they probably still look at darts and go, oh, I'm not letting him play darts. There's no money in it. Because there's never been any money in it in America. You know, there was more money in soft tipping in America than there was in steel tip. So that, again, that whole idea has got to change, and that will come through them taking it to America and putting on big shows and big events, and people go, and people get an interest in it, become fans, and they might encourage the kids to play.
Yeah,
but right now, there's nowhere for the kids to play. So it's like the, you know, which way do you go first? You have to do something first, but you have to show them as well that what you have to dangle the carrot and say, look, this is the reward.
This is what can happen.
This is what can happen. Use Luke Littler as an example, and you may well get funding and everything else. I mean, listen, and again, what people don't realise, the investment the PDC make in all these affiliate tours and the money they throw at it. So it's probably disappointing from them when they don't see them going, well, where's the next? Where's your Luke Littler?
Yeah.
You know, I know he's an anomaly. He's a generational talent, but you need to find a version of that.
Going back to the Pro Tour things, we got sidetracked. If these top stars do what they say and they're not going to play in any of them, all of a sudden they're not going to be in certain TV tournaments. Now, if you're a broadcaster or a sponsor and you've sponsored this event and all of a sudden these stars aren't in there, you're not going to be too happy.
Well, no, you just change the rules and go,
well,
right, it'll be the top 32 in the world rankings and then the top 32 in the Pro Tour Order of Merit for those outside of it.
Well, this is what I'm going to get at. Maybe, I think it might be too late for next year, unless it's already something, but certainly for 2027, do you see a scenario where the top 16 in the world are guaranteed to be in everything?
Yeah, and that's the reward that they should get. Only people would complain because, you know, this is how it was when it started and then it evolved and then everything else. But yeah, I'd put the top 32 in, and then the next 32 in their own little ranking pool. Yeah, I think that's just it's a bit like the match race, top 16 and the next 16. Do it that way. Do it the top 32 and the next 32. End of problem. Because you can't have a tournament. You can't have a tournament of that ilk, and like you could have no Lukes, no Gezi, no.
Well, Michael wasn't there this year. Nathan's never fussed about Pro Tours. No. He doesn't like them because he loves the stage. And,
and it you know, it's a conversation we've been having for years that, and now they're earning this ridiculous amount of money. What's their incentive to go to a Pro Tour? I mean, I know it's a staggering amount of money to me and you, but to them, it's like I can go do an exhibition and earn pretty much that.
Yeah.
And I ain't got to get 2 flights to Ildesheim or Riesa or. So yeah, I think it's going to change a lot over the next couple of years because these players now are becoming big earners, so they can pick and choose what they want to do. And the popularity of our sport now, you just, like you say, you've just been up in Scotland doing exhibitions. It's bonkers. It's like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people. The galas in Germany are generating just.
Oh, we've seen pictures from the one in Finland this weekend that Michael and Luke have played in. 7,500 in Finland.
So you can only imagine what they're getting paid to be there. So where do you think they're having the most fun?
Yeah.
No pressure. One game, a bit of fun with the crowd and a game against each other. So, you know, and again, at this time of year, great practice. Yeah, so I think they'll have to, again, they do it very well. They have a look at things and they go, right, they'll notice a trend. Right, how do we reverse this trend? How do we guarantee our sponsors, our broadcasters, the top 32 in the world, and they'll just change the rules, and they're allowed to. It's their business.
Well, on the broadcasters, the P45 arrived through the door.
Came this morning. The nice severance check. Interesting times. Really sad. 18 years there with, you know, people that were colleagues who became sort of great friends, and I've watched people start off as runners and end up directors. It's been a journey. Some great times there. The early days of the Slam was brilliant at the Civic. We had great times, and we were almost given a license to be a little bit more creative. Where I think over the years, I think we just became maybe stale is too strong of a word, but safe. Although it's hard because you don't have a lot of time, and I'm mad for doing sort of other content to bring you the story behind the scenes of how this player got to this point. And we don't tell enough story about the players. DAZN do it brilliantly with if they've got a big fight on over the weeks leading up to it and during the actual build up to the fight, they have loads of interesting bits of content, not necessarily long pieces, 4 or 5 minute pieces. And I think we weren't interactive enough with the viewer. We were almost too scared to do that. And which it doesn't tarnish it, but I think the timing was right for darts. Certainly, I think Sky do an incredible job. They're a bit more creative. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward and the narrative and how the story is going to be told on ITV, because they've got 3 years to try and create something that they'll want to keep. So it's going to be interesting.
You hoping for a phone call?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, of course I am. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. And listen, I remember when we started doing it on the radio, and everybody was like, "What, darts on the radio?" Yes, it works.
100%, it's great.
So, and that was a new challenge. It was something I'd never done before, so I had to adapt and learn very quickly. Fortunately, I was surrounded by, again, another great team of excellent broadcasters who were vastly experienced in certainly radio broadcasting, and long may it continue, because I absolutely love it. We're down at the Worlds for its entirety, doing every session, so I should be like that. But I hope going forward that I'll have certainly a role to play, and I've got some interesting ideas of stuff that I'd like to see them do. I think Sky did it 2 years ago with the interactive.
With the Sky Pad, Dan Dawson.
With Dan Dawson, that was just. I mean, it must have been nerve-wracking.
It was brilliant, though. But that's what you want. You want analytical stuff.
Of course you do. You want to be able to have a deeper look into the science of it, I suppose, and that's something that I'm keen to get involved. Something I'd like to do with Dan, because for someone who's not a dart player, he actually his insight into the mechanics of it is very good.
Lakeside is on as we're recording this. What have you, without trying to batter it too much?
Yeah, but don't trash it. Well, I'm not going to trash it. I just don't get it. Who sits there and goes, right, this is what we're gonna show this? What? Who goes, yeah, that's all right? Because you don't. If you care about your brand, that's like me having dirty glasses in here and going, that's all, fuck 'em, just stick it in that. I'd have no customers in a week, be dead. And they wonder why they can't get investment. If you as much you love darts and you were lucky enough to win all that 100-odd million on the Euro Millions of the day, you go, and you had like a business, you go, well, I don't think I'm going to throw a few quid at that. They wonder why I just don't get it. Why? Show it. Like, look what we did in here last night with 3 cameras. You know what I mean? Just invest in people, but because they've got no money, or it's constantly being tried to be done on the cheap, and I feel sorry for the players. Travelling the world to qualify for that. And you imagine, like, all excited, you got your mum and dad at home in Canada or Japan or wherever, and you go, right, watch this. They'd be like, what is it? Well, the word was brought up during the broadcast, wank. And that's what it is. I mean, why bother? You do more damage by putting that out than not putting it out at all, or maybe do a radio style broadcast on it.
As we record this Tuesday, I'm not sure, it probably won't go out till Thursday, Friday, but from Wednesday, I'm hopeful it will look good when S4C.
Yeah, well, they've got a proper production company in for
because
that.
It looked great when they did the home nations or whatever. But like you said, the issue is the fact that you've put that out from Friday to Tuesday, and then that from Wednesday to
damage has
Sunday.
already been done. Damage has already been done. Like,
can you repair it or not?
Well, it's done anyway, isn't it? Like, it's for me, a brand and an organisation which has so much history and done so many great things back in the day. Whoever made that decision to go, yeah, go and put that out, I honestly don't get it. I'd love an explanation about how you think that is positive for the players. Like, you can't even get a highlight reel out of it. You know, you can't do nothing with it. I just don't get it. Why isn't someone 12 months ago gone to a university that's renowned for broadcasting and go, look, we've got a little project that you might be interested in. We want to do and they would come out and it would be part of their dissertation or whatever, part of a project. You imagine all like these young people who are more tech savvy than I'll ever be. You imagine what kind of thing they could produce.
Yeah.
But no, it looks like they've got someone with a telephone and they've just filmed it on a phone. All my life, it blows my mind. Every time you sort of try and give them a leg up or try and support them, they turn around and churn out absolute trash like that. And I just, like I said, I feel sorry because some of the what I have watched, the darts have been very good.
Yeah.
And I just feel sorry for the players. It must be heartbreaking for them. Heartbreaking just to put all that effort in, and basically saying, "Well, this is how much we think of you. You know, I'll go and play on that." What? I just don't get it. Honestly, I can't. Every time you sort of think, right, come on, guys, get this right, because there is a place for darts at that level. There is not everybody's suited to Challenge Tour, or Dev Tour, or ADC, or PDC. And there needs to be an alternative. And again, it could be whether it's a feeder system or whatever. But would PDC ever turn out something like that?
No.
Not in a million years. And why is one doing well and one isn't? You know, they just wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. And no organisation should do it because it's, like I said, it's done more damage than good. But fortunately, a proper production company is in from Wednesday, and at least then for the players, that it'll look a damn sight better than it does now.
Before we wrap up, because we're over the hour already, come January the 3rd, who is lifting the Sid Wardell Trophy and who are they beating in the final?
Oh, I think we're going to get a repeat from 2 years ago, the two Lukes. I just think I can't not. And it's an easy choice, or it appears easy choice. 1 and 2 in the world. Well, that's why they're 1 and 2 in the world. But like I said, there's players that it wouldn't surprise me if Michael made the final. Wouldn't surprise me if Gezi made the final. Wouldn't surprise me if Danny Noppert made the final. Wouldn't surprise me if James Wade went deep. Yeah, it's just it's just hard to see anybody else apart from the two Lukes. Listen, again, the form line, everything that's gone before, it all points to them being in the final, and it would be some final.
Nice. It's a pleasure catching up with you here in the wonderful Prince of Wales in Ilkeston, pal, and we will see you.
I'll see you in about 8 days.
The 11th of December, we will be there. And we, mates, are going to be doing stuff through the tournament as well. We're going to be grabbing 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there.
We'll do some live stuff, so we'll do some Q&A stuff so we can get everybody else involved and get there. Look at it all.
100%. Everyone, thank you very much, and mate, pleasure as always.
Introducing the Paddy Power World Darts Championship.